Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson, and we are having a special show tonight. We're not going to have guests. All I want to do is hang with y'all, and I'm going to tell you a bit about myself, and I'm going to answer some questions. So this is going to be a pretty interactive show. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to listen in, and then if you have a question, I want you to put it into the chat, and I'm going to answer your questions live. So some of you guys may know me and some of you may not, but that's okay because by the end of this live, y'all are all going to know who your girl is. Now, you might see me look in two different places. That's because I'm not only going live on Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn, I'm also going live on TikTok. So there's a lot of things going on tonight, but we're going to make this happen. It's the first time I've done this, so I just have to make sure that I'm bouncing back and forth and I'm engaging guests on all of the platforms because we're doing all of the things tonight. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to start off. I'm going to tell you a bit about myself. And then, like I said, if you have a question, maybe you're thinking about writing a book one day, or maybe you have written a book and you need some help with getting that book out there. You want people to not just buy the book, you want them to know who you are. We're going to talk a lot about that as well. So I'm gonna just go ahead and get started and tell you a bit about myself because y'all are probably like, who is this crazy woman doing all this talking? All right. So my name is Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson. I am the owner of Meet the World Image Solutions, which is a publicity and literary services company. I am stationed, I said stationed because I used to be in the Army. I was in the Army for, believe it or not, 23 years. And it was an adventure, but it was just time to go. I just needed to do some other things in life. And I'm really enjoying myself doing these other things in life. And one of these things that I'm doing is Meet the World Image Solutions. I am a 24-time published author, and I knew what it was like to try to get your book out there, try to get publicity for the book, try to get people to read your book, but then they didn't know who you were. Or you tried to go and do a book signing at a local bookstore, and they wouldn't accept your book, or they would only buy them on consignment, but then they never told you if they sold the book. I think I still have some free books out there from over the years where the bookstore said, we'll take them on, we'll sell them on consignment and we'll send you the money if we sell the books. The problem is you don't always hear back from these people, or sometimes the books are just sitting there and nobody knows that they're there, and you're not keeping track, especially if you're a new author. You're not keeping track of everybody who has your book. So I wanted to be able to start a platform to help people to get publicity for their books. So that's the reason why I started Meet the World Image Solutions. So I have two arms to the company. I have publicity and I have literary services. The literary services is really after my own heart. And what I mean by that is, as I told you, I'm a 24-time published author. I love writing. And I know that there are people out there who want to write, but they don't know where to get started. Or they think they have a great story, and they probably do have a great story, but they can't really get all of the pieces together, or maybe they're not that strong a writer, or maybe they're not strong with grammar. So I wanted to be able to help people like that. There are so many people out there, and I've said it a million times. There are people who are great storytellers, but maybe they're not great writers. And then there are some people who are great writers, and they're not necessarily great storytellers. And believe it or not, there is a difference. Have you? Here's an example. Have you ever met somebody who told a heck of a story? They always had you laughing. They could tell a story to keep you engaged, and you're wondering what's going to happen next. But then when you when they try to write this down, you're like, ugh, what did you say there? And sometimes it happens. That means that there are people who are great storytellers, but not necessarily great writers. I have read some books out there that were really interesting stories, but because the author was not a strong writer, it didn't come across as well as it could have. Or maybe the reader put the book down, and I've met many readers. I'm like that myself. If the book doesn't grab me within the first 50 pages, I'm probably going to put it down. I don't like, they call it DNF, did not finish. I don't like not finishing a book, but sometimes I just can't get through it. Or I try to muscle through it, and then I get to the end thinking that it's going to get better, and it never gets better. And if that's happened to you before, just let me know in the chat, because I know that's happened to me quite a bit. So, like I said, I wanted to be able to help these authors who honestly want to tell a good story. Maybe it's a fiction story, maybe it's maybe it's a nonfiction story, a memoir where they want to talk about their life, and I want to be able to help them to tell that story. Now, I will tell you this about people who say that they want to write about their lives. Unfortunately, sometimes people want to write about their lives and they think that they have an interesting story, and it may not be that interesting. Um, or maybe they want to tell the story from the time they were born all the way up until present day. And unfortunately, that's not the best way to tell a story. So, what I normally tell people, and I know it sounds harsh, is that if you are not famous, if you have not made $1 million doing something, then people don't really care about your story. However, what they do care about is your message. And if you really think about your message and how your life story compares to that message, now you might have something. So what I tell people to do is think about, what do you want to get across? For instance, maybe I mentioned something about $1 million. Maybe you do want to tell people how you made $1 million selling t-shirts. For instance, Damon John. I mean, many of us know Damon John. He's one of the sharks on Shark Tank. He wrote a book about how he started FUBU. He didn't have to start from the very beginning all the way up until present day. He talked about how he started FUBU and how, and his business ventures that kind of failed up until he got to that point. That's what we want to know. We want to know how this man became a millionaire, selling jeans and t-shirts, because that's what a lot of people are doing now. So they want to know if they can do the same thing that Damon John did. So that's what he wrote about. So think about that when you decide that you want to tell your story. I mean, I have a comment on here on YouTube that says most biographies are boring, and they're boring because we're not grabbing you. We think that our story is more interesting than it really is. But if we really think about that message and what we want to get across and how certain aspects of our life apply to that message, then you'll be able to grab hold of them. Then you'll be able to grab their attention. So think about that when you get ready to write your memoir. I know it's like a gut punch for somebody to tell you that your story is not interesting, but I'm sadly your story is probably not interesting. We got to be real. But I'll tell you, for me, I probably will never write my life story. What I like to do is I like to take aspects of my life and I make them into a fiction story. So I'm not going to tell you which parts of the stories are me and which aren't, because y'all, I know, especially when I wrote my first book, Cheating in the Next Room, y'all really were trying to figure out if I was Andrea. You were trying to figure out if I was Alexis. I wasn't any of those people. I took little pieces of my life and applied them to different characters in the book. But that's the way I like to tell my story. So this is one of my books right here. This is an anthology called A New Renaissance. And in this book, there's 12 different authors in here. But the story that I wrote was called Buried Alive. I've never been buried alive, but I write by the what if factor. So one of my biggest fears is to be buried alive. I mean, we've heard about these things happening to people where maybe they were in a deep sleep, or maybe they were in a coma, or something happened and people thought they were dead and then they were buried. So I always wondered what would happen if somebody woke up and found that they were buried alive. And that I wrote about that in this book, but I didn't want it to just be about that. So I also thought about some other things. I wanted to incorporate New Orleans in it because I'm from New Orleans. I wanted to incorporate some of my experiences with relationships. And so all of that is in this one story. So, um, and this is a short story. It's not super long. I think it's probably 10,000 words, maybe even less. But I heard somebody say that you're not a real author if it's not a long book. And I refuse to believe that propaganda. I'm not subscribing to that propaganda. I've written long books and I've written short books. I've written books that were 100,000 pages. I've written books that were less than 100. It's not about how long your story is. What it's actually about is how you tell the story and how full your story is. Does your story have a beginning? Does it have a middle? Does it have an end? Does it have a plot arc? Does it have strong characters? If you're able to do that, then it doesn't matter how long your story is. And I actually give a lot of credit to somebody who can pack all of that into a short story. And I also give a lot of credit to people who can write a short story, knowing that many people are busy and they don't want to read a book that's this thick. Everybody doesn't have time for a book this thick. Uh, Um, a moment of transparency. I still haven't finished reading Becoming. I love Michelle Obama. I really do. God knows I do. I have not had time to finish reading that book. And I'll give you another moment of transparency. I don't physically read a lot of books anymore like this. I don't read a lot of books like that because I don't have time. So I'm in love with audiobooks. I listen to audiobooks while I'm exercising. I listen to audiobooks while I'm driving. Sometimes I actually prefer to drive by myself when I know I'm driving for about an hour or two. I prefer to drive by myself because I can listen to my audiobooks. And I have probably read about 25 to 50 books just by reading audiobooks. So you might hear somebody say you're not a real reader if you only listen to audiobooks. Don't subscribe to that propaganda because you are still taking in a story. You are still taking in information. You are still learning. You are still experiencing a story. So it's still reading. And just because you don't have time to sit down for an hour and read and then read 2 or 3 chapters does not mean that you're any less a reader than anybody else. I can discuss any book that I've read with somebody who physically read the book because I experienced the story and I learned something. And I was totally engrossed in that story. So don't let anybody make you feel bad for listening to an audiobook instead of reading a physical book. Also, do not let anybody make you feel bad because you prefer to write novellas instead of full-length novels. As long as you are telling a story that grabs the reader and doesn't let them go until they get to the very last word, and even when they get to the last word, they're disappointed because the book was so good they have to email you and ask you when is the next book, and that's happened to me a few times. that means that you are a great writer. So don't let anybody tell you anything different. All right? All right? All right. So, like I said, guys, if you have questions um, or comments or concerns, and you might want to share some of your experiences, please put them in the chat. I can't let you on screen because I didn't send this link out to anybody, and I've gotten Zoom bombed before, so I'm not just putting my link out there all willy nilly. That's never happening again. But if you have a question, I am more than happy to answer it. All you have to do is just put it in the chat, and I will answer your questions live. Now, some people have asked questions about. I'm just making. I have to check TikTok, make sure I don't have any questions on there. Okay, I think we're doing good so far. All right, y'all. TikTok, y'all can ask your questions too. But some people have asked me about how did it get on this show, the Horizons Author Lounge. I do this show live almost every Monday. And the reason why I say almost is because I I'm trying to do better about balancing life. So if it's a holiday, if it's my birthday, I'm not doing a show. Like for instance, then we will have a show next week. We have two guests lined up for next week. But on June 30th, I am not doing a show because I will be in New Orleans spending time with my family and also celebrating my birthday. Your girl's gonna be 52. I know, I know, I know, I know. I know I only look 25, but I will be 52 on June 29th. So I'm gonna be celebrating my birthday. I'm gonna be having a good time. I spend a lot of time inside editing books, helping people to get their books published, doing this show, doing Black Authors Matter TV on Tuesdays, which I'll talk to you guys about in a second. So I don't always have a lot of time to myself. So I made a concerted decision that on Tuesday night, excuse me, on Mondays, if it's a holiday, I will not be doing a show. So that way I can spend time with my family or I can spend time by myself and watch TV if I want to. But whatever it is, that's what I'm going to do because I need that rest. All right, I see we have another question. I have wanted to get through more books. How do you do that? Now, when you say get through more books, do you mean get through them as in reading more books? So I would say this. I have books in multiple formats. Um, I told you I love listening to audiobooks, but I also I can't show you my phone because I'm using it for TikTok right now. But I also like ebooks. So sometimes like when I'm getting my nails done or something, I'll my nail tech actually has a little phone stand you can put your phone on. So I set it on a stand and I'll read my ebooks while I'm getting my nails done. Or if I'm bored, let's say like I don't know, like I'm the passenger instead of the driver, I might read a book. Or if I'm at the DMV and y'all know how it is at the DMV, you go sit there a minute. Sometimes I'll pull out my phone and I'll read a book. So so I think having your books handy is a good idea. Plus, you can carry so many more books. You know, nobody's carrying around 5 physical books with them, but I can carry around 10 or 15 books on my Kindle reader, which is actually my phone. So that helps me to get through books. Sometimes if I'm reading a book, I like to read to the end of the chapter because it helps me to not lose my place in the book. So I'll read to the end of the chapter. So I know when I pick that book up again, I can go to chapter 5 or chapter 6. So, but the best way that I get through books is, like I said, audiobooks. If I know I'm going to take a power walk, and sometimes that's my motivation for taking a walk, I'll put my earphones on, my Beats by Dre earphones, and then I have my little Samsung watch right here, and I'll go for a walk, and I'll walk for probably an hour, maybe an hour and a half, and all that time I'm listening to audiobooks. And it's so serious. When I get to a certain spot, I automatically think about what I was listening to when I passed that spot. So that's the way I get through books. So I hope that answered your question. I think that was what you were asking. But yeah, so I like to read books, like I said, in different formats. Um, and I have a question for you guys, and let me know, what kind of books do you like? What kind of books do you like to read? I am, yes, I'm a doctor. I do have a doctorate, but it doesn't mean that I only want to read educational books. I love a good biography, but I also love a good mystery book. I love I'm not a huge fan of romance. But I'll read a romance book, but I'm not a huge fan of romance. For me, I would rather read contemporary fiction. I like to read about life. So mystery books, suspense books, books about some life, about adventure. Those are the types of books I like to read. So let me know what you guys think. Okay, I have another question here from YouTube. My friend says audiobooks and real books are a different experience. Well, I would say that, yeah, they can be a different experience. And I'll tell you this. I love James Patterson's books. The Alex Cross series. I love his books. But if you read, I've read his books and I've listened to them. And what's really cool when you listen to his books, he has sound effects in his books. I remember reading this book where there was a boat that was about to explode, and when it exploded, they played the explosion sound, and I was like, like that. So yeah, it can be a different experience. But I would also say if you're a person who you kind of lose focus, maybe physical reading might not be the best for you. Maybe listening to the book. I like to listen to books because it keeps me engaged, especially when I'm driving. However, I have a friend who says that she doesn't like audiobooks because they put her to sleep. But I can't just sit like this and listen to an audiobook. I do need to be doing something. So if I'm working on something, if I'm driving, if I'm exercising, it keeps my mind off of what I'm doing. So that's the way I like to read, or that's the way I like to listen to audiobooks. But yeah, to just sit there, no, I can't do it. Now, I do sometimes, if I know I can't sleep, sometimes I'll set my audiobook reader to, let's say, 30 minutes, and I'll listen to the book. I'm getting comfortable, and I might fall asleep, but it'll turn off, so I'm not missing the entire story. Like when I wake up, the book is over and I'm like, damn it. No, so I don't do that. But yes, there is a difference between reading a book and listening to the book, but it really kind of depends on you and what type of learner you are. There are some people, if you explain something to them, they won't get it. But if they actually get to pick it, hold it, and read it and take in the information for themselves, all of a sudden they get it just like that. So it really just depends on the type of reader you are and the type of learner you are. Um, I will tell you this. I have this book right here. Yeah. This is Literary Horizons. And what it is last summer I did a book catalog. And in the book catalog, I put samples of about 25 different stories in the catalog. And you can actually read the chapter, see if it's something that captures your interest. And then at the end of the chapter, there is a QR code. You can scan the QR code, and then you can purchase whatever book it was that you read for yourself. And that way you can kind of sample the book before you start reading it. And that was the reason why I gave out, that's why I did the Literary Horizons Summer Catalog. And I give this away free. So if there's anybody who is interested in the book, in the catalog, you can go to my website, which is on the screen right now, www.mtwimagesolutions.com. And then you can click in the store and it'll take you to the catalog. You can download the catalog for free. and read the sample chapters. And like I said, if you see a book that you like, read that sample chapter and then purchase the book. It's a great way to support authors. And at the same time, it gives you a chance to kind of sample a book to see if this is something that you really want to read. So think about that. Now, another way that I like to support authors is with my writers community. I have the Right to Win writers community. We're actually about to move over to the school platform. I was doing it on the Kajabi platform, and it's a little bit more clunky than I would like. So I'm going to be moving it over to the school platform very soon. But this is a paid community, but you get free worksheets, you get free checklists, you get free access to all of the courses that I teach, and you also get promotion opportunities. So if this is something that you'd be interested in, you can scan the QR code on the screen or just DM me and I can get you the link for the community. So this is another way, like I said, of supporting authors. What I want to be able to do is help authors become better writers. And this doesn't mean that you're a bad writer. I've been writing for a very long time. When I was in the Army, I was an Army journalist, and I was in the Army for 23 years. I've been a published author since 2003, 2004, something like that. I actually published Cheating in the Next Room 20 years ago. But it doesn't mean that I don't have something to learn. Oh, great. Thank you, Daniel. My producer has put the link on in the chat. So you can just click that link if you would like more information about the Right to Win writers community. But it doesn't mean that you can't learn something new or maybe be reminded that you are doing all right. Or maybe you don't have to do things the hard way and think that you have to have everything in your head. Sometimes it's okay to get some extra help. Sometimes it's okay to say, I need to know what to do next, or I want to be able to do this easier. There's nothing wrong with doing that. So think about that. And I would love to see you in the writers community. I really want to grow this community into a supportive community that helps each other to grow. We can, and not just grow as writers, but grow as business people. Because you do know if you have a book, you have a business, and if you have a business, you need to have a book. It goes hand in hand. So think about that. I'm sharing the show in one more location, so don't mind me, y'all. Got to do a couple of things. All right, but like I said, if you have a book, yes, you absolutely have a business. And in order for that business to grow, in order for more people to know about your business, you have to get it out there. You have to get exposure. And you can't stay in one place. You can't think, okay, I've written one book, I know it all, I'm good. I wish it were that easy. I really do. And I'll tell you, part of the mistake that I made when I first became an author is that I knew I was a good writer. I had been writing for a long time. I wrote in college. I was an Army journalist. I knew how to write, but I didn't know how to be a fiction author. I thought I did because I was a good writer. So there were some people I had who had to grab me by my braids, because I wore braids back then too. They had to grab me by my braids and say, Rhonda, you need to listen. This is not the Army. You've got to listen. And so I had to listen to those people. And I thank them for that. I really thank people like Tina McKinney, who God rest her soul, just passed. This show is actually dedicated to her. She was very open about giving advice and just giving some lessons when it came to this industry. And I appreciate her for that. Eric Jerome Dickey, God rest his soul as well. He didn't know me from Eve, but we happened to be doing a book signing together, and he purchased my book. I don't know if he read it or not, but in fact, I asked him, I said, are you going to read it? He said, Rhonda, just sign the book for me. and I thanked him for that. But he gave me advice that day that I still carry to this day. He gave me advice that I tell my own clients when I'm coaching them. So I thank them for that. I don't care how long you've been writing, there's nothing wrong with learning a little something else. So this is the reason why I started the Right to Win writers community. I want you to grow, and I want you not to make the mistakes that I made when I got into this industry 20 years ago. So think about it. Just think about it. So now another way I support authors is I have promo packages. And with the promo packages, I'm making no secret. I love using AI because yes, I have assistants. I have my producer. Shout out to Daniel, who's helping me on the back end for this call right here. I also have Vic. Shout out to Vic. He does a lot of my admin stuff for me. But we can't do everything. And Meet the World Image Solutions has a lot of services. So what I've done is I have figured out a way, I have developed a way to um, help authors to get the publicity that they need by pitching in the podcast, writing press releases, putting you on major news platforms. And I can do all of this just by you answering a few questions. So I would love for you guys to learn more about that. If that's something that you'd be interested in learning more about, all I need you to do is put PRESS, in the chat, and I'll send you all the information. We have another question. I tend to lose my concentration and start thinking of something else when listening to an audiobook. By the time I realize I have missed part of the book, I'm not even gonna lie to you, that's happened to me too. But the good part about it is I can just rewind it and listen to it again. There's nothing wrong with doing it. There's no shame in that. So what I've done is, yeah, I've just listened to it again. Because the same thing has happened when I was reading a book, like a physical book. I have glossed over some parts because maybe I had something else in my mind, or maybe I forgot something, or maybe I didn't read it correctly. Sometimes things like that happen. And so when they happen, I go back and read it again. If it happens in the audiobook, I go back and listen to it again. Hey Mark, thanks for joining me tonight. So those of you who are just joining, and you're like, why am I sitting here talking to myself? I'm not talking to myself, I'm talking to my peoples. And what I wanted to do, instead of having a guest tonight, I just wanted to introduce myself to all of you. I wanted to let you know who I am. I wanted to be able to answer your questions. And I wanted to have a nice little back and forth. And we're having a pretty good back and forth so far. So I want to thank you all who are asking questions, because that's what this is all about. Let's see. So I told you about the promo package. I have actually a number of promo packages. But this current one I'm really excited about, because like I said, it's just a matter of you answering just a few questions, and then I will generate an entire promo package for you and actually put you on platforms like medium.com, like Newsbreak and Substack. I can get you on those platforms, and then I'm going to pitch you to even more platforms, because I want you to be able to get the exposure that you need as an author. So if that's something that you would be interested in, like I said, just type press in the chat and I will get you all the information you need to get started on that. If you want to be a guest on this show, July is pretty much wide open right now. We air each Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And I actually have promo packages that are attached to this show as well. To be a guest on this show is absolutely free. However, if you want to take your appearance and take it just a little bit further, I'm talking press releases, I'm talking social media content, I'm talking an Amazon Live interview, a separate interview, and many other things, pitching to media. I can get all of that for you too. And those are at really affordable prices. One of the things I wanted to do when I started this company is I did not want to be super expensive to where people who really needed the exposure felt that I was unattainable. Now, I ain't gonna lie to you. My mistake at first was being dirt cheap at first. And I was it was so bad. I ain't gonna lie to you. It was so bad when I first started my company back in 2017. I was doing all this work for people for like $200 a month. I couldn't even pay one bill with $200. I was basically working for free. And I had to learn I could not do that because, first of all, a small business is not a nonprofit. We have to make money. And in order for you to offer the quality that your clients deserve, you have to pay. And then the premium clients that you think you really want, they are not going to touch you because they're going to see you as low budget. I had to learn all of this the hard way. So eventually my prices started going up. I still don't think I'm super expensive, but I'm not super cheap either. I'm like I said, I've got to be totally honest and transparent with you. But I had to do that because I have a family to feed. I have bills to pay. And I'm one of the people who still has cable. I don't think I'm giving up my cable because I like to be able to just go to my channel and and watch what I'm trying to watch. So what I said I was going to do is I've got to be able to make the money that I need to pay my bills. So what I did was I figured out what my number was, and that is the amount of money I need to bring in per month in order to maintain my household. And that's something that you might want to think of as well. If you have a book, like I said, if you have a book, you have a business. And if you have a business, you need to have a book because that book is going to help you to bring in income for your business. And I'm talking income that can come while you're asleep. Well, I mean, do you know how good a feeling it is to go to bed and then wake up and find some money in your bank account because somebody purchased something from you overnight? It's a beautiful feeling. Uh, Mark, you're the last of a dying breed still having cable. I don't care. You can talk about me having cable if you want. I'm keeping my cable. Yeah, but I like having cable. I don't have to go looking for something. I don't have to wait until the next day to watch Beyond the Gates. I'm going to watch Beyond the Gates when I finish this call. So yeah, that's my show. I'm not ashamed of that. That's my show. I record it every day. I come home and I watch Beyond the Gates. Yes, people still have cable. I'm not gonna have y'all I'm not gonna have y'all shade me, okay? I have cable. Actually, really on the real, I am kind of thinking about canceling and cutting the cord. That's some money I can put someplace else. But like I said, I like it, and until I figure out how I can watch my shows without having to wait until the next day, I'm gonna have to keep my cable. And then plus, my mama lives with me, and she's not doing all of that streaming stuff. She wants her cable, so you gotta do what I gotta do. Y'all made me forget what I was talking about. Up there, shading me about my cable. All right, so like I was saying, if you have a book, you have a business. If you have a business, you need a book. Like I said, that book is going to bring in income for your business. And another thing that book does is it shows you as an expert in your field. And another thing, how many of you have had people who have slid up in your DMs asking you if they can pick your brain for a minute? I hate that. Don't pick my brain. Because picking my brain is not gonna pay that cable bill. But picking my brain is not paying my mortgage, and my mortgage high. So picking your brain, that's called a consultation. And when you pay a consultant, you have or when you get a consultant, you have to pay that consultant. So what if they don't want to pay you $100 an hour or whatever it is that you charge for your consultation fee? What if you put all that knowledge in a book and then charged, let's say, $20 for the book, maybe 50, depending on what it is. Let's say you charge $20 for the book. Now they buy that book. You still have your time, You still have your energy. You still have your wits about you. You are not exhausted. And you made 20 bucks and that person got the information that they needed. And you do that over and over again. You put that on repeat and you're making income for your business. Because I'm telling you, you keep letting people pick your brain for free and you're going to find yourself tired and broke. And you're going to be irritated because the people do not care. They want what they want. And if you continue to let people take advantage of you, I had to learn myself. I had a coach who had to tell me the same thing. Stop letting people take advantage of you. Stop giving away all of your valuable knowledge for free. And I think one of the reasons why we do that is because we have imposter syndrome. We think that we're not good enough, or we think that the knowledge that we have is something that everybody knows. And if you think everybody knows it, you start to look down on your knowledge. You start to look down on yourself. You're thinking, who am I to charge whatever people are charging for consulting? Or why would they pay me when they can pay somebody else? Why not pay you? Why not pay you? And I know we hate to tell people no, or sometimes we feel bad about charging, but we have to do what we have to do. It's like I said, we've got bills to pay. Or maybe I might want to just take a dog on vacation and not have to wait till I get paid or not have to take out a loan. Maybe I want to earn the money by providing a valuable service. Think about that as you're going through life. Oh my goodness. I looked up because I might have to turn TikTok off in a minute. Good thing the show's almost over. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead. Absolutely, it's a real thing. It really is a real thing. I'm gonna tell you, everybody doesn't know what you know. I know you may think everybody knows what you know, but everybody does not know what you know. And I'll tell you this, I've changed my own oil before. I had to stop. I did it one time. I said, I'll never do it again. I don't like it. Not like I know what to do. There we go. I changed my own oil before. I didn't want to do it anymore. I have a full-time job. I have a business. I'm active in my sorority. I don't want to clean my own house. I hire somebody to do that for me. So my point is, yes, you might know how to promote your own book. You might know how to edit your own book, but you shouldn't. You might know how to do all these things. But if you paid somebody else to do it, you are taking your time back. And like I said, I had to learn that. This is the reason why I have Daniel. I'm able to talk to you guys and I'm able to move my hands because I noticed that when I first started doing this show, I was doing this. And I could see it. And I felt bad because I'm sure that my guests saw it and it looked like I wasn't paying attention to them. So I had to bring in a producer who could do all of this back stuff for me. Like right now, you see a comment just showed up on the screen and I'm moving my hands around. He's able to do that for me so I can focus more on my guests. That helps me to give more quality attention to the people who invested their time and energy into me. And so the same thing goes for other things. I pay people to do certain things so I can have more time for me. It's not selfish. It's taking care of yourself. Or as Walter Reed stories put, let yourself breathe. Absolutely. Sometimes you just want to breathe. Like I said, when I finish this, I want to be able to sit down and watch Beyond the Gates without feeling guilty. And it is very easy to pile your plate up because I've done it before. I've piled my plate up a little bit too much and got overwhelmed. And now I'm working my way out of that. So, like I said, I want to make sure that you're not making the same mistakes that I made in life. And that's one of the mistakes I made is I started doing too many things for free. Or when I charged, I didn't charge enough. And then I piled up my plate. And I'll tell you, people will take from you and take from you, and it will leave you exhausted and broke. And I don't want to see that happen to anybody. So we've been talking for a minute. Um, I will tell you, I would love to work with you. I see right now we got 41 likes on the live on TikTok. Thank you. Thank you everybody who joined and listened in for a while. I hope you got something valuable out of this. And I'm gonna try to do more TikTok lives a little bit more. But I enjoy this. I do the show live on Facebook and YouTube, but I don't get on you on TikTok live nearly enough as I should. So I owe you guys that, and I'll be getting back up in there. But I would love to work with you. My services on the literary side include editing, ghostwriting, um, ghostwriting. I also do workshops and book coaching. Now, I actually have a client in all of those categories right now. I just finished an editing project. I just finished a publishing project. I have a done for you publishing service, which means that maybe you want to publish your own book, but you don't exactly know how to do it. I have a service where I will do everything for you, and then I turn the keys over to you. I do not collect any royalties. You owe me nothing after you've paid me that one fee to do everything for you. I give you an ISBN number and everything. So that's something that you might want to think about. So, like I said, I have a publishing client. I'm finishing up. I just finished the editing client. I have a ghostwriting client right now, and I'm writing his full book. And he's giving me carte blanche. It's kind of scary, so I want to make sure I do a good job for him. And then I also have a consulting client who's working on a whole line of books. So, okay. So, if you'd like any information on any of my literary services, you can go to my website, which is right here on the screen, www.mtwimagesolutions.com. Now, on the publicity side, I told you I have a number of promo packages, but I also have this show, the Horizons Author Lounge. I co-host Black Authors Matter TV on Tuesday nights from 8 to 10. I write press releases. I was an Army journalist when back in the day. So I'm a pretty good and I'm also a public affairs officer for the federal government. So I'm a pretty good press release writer. So I write press releases. I also write articles for Medium, Substack, and Newsbreak. And I also pitch people to the media, what a pitch is so we have your press release, we have a one sheet, which I also create, and media kits, which I also create. And I can take that package and I pitch you to the media. I try to tell the media why you would be a great guest on your show, or why you would be a great person to be featured in their newspaper or magazine. So I do all of that. So I do all of these things. And if any of this resonates with you, which I hope it does, because I really want to support you and your goals, go to my website, www.mtwimagesolutions.com. You can also go to my site if you would like to be a guest on the show. Like I said, July is wide open right now. I will not be doing a show on June 30th. The next show will be June 16th and then June 23rd. And then we'll take a break on the 30th, and then we'll come right back in July. So I would love, love, love to see you on the show. If you are an author and you would like publicity for your book, this is the place to come. That's all I have, guys. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. I hope that I'll get to work with you. If there's any questions that you might have, oh my goodness, the likes have gone up and they're continuing to go up. Thank you. Thank you so much. Up to almost 300 likes on TikTok. Y'all are showing out. But if there's anything that you have questions about, just DM me or just go to the chat and I will make sure to answer those questions. But other than that, that is all I have. Um, One last thing, a gift to you for hanging with me. If you are an author, let me do this. There we go. If you are an author, or maybe you're an aspiring author, then I want you to comment game in the chat. And when you comment game, I will send you a link to my free workbook, Mastering the Game 100 Insider Secrets to the Literary Industry. All right, Florida girl, it's coming. It is coming. 100 Insider Secrets to the Literary Industry. Real truths every author should understand about the literary jungle and proven tips to getting started. So what this is actually I believe I might have 101 tips in here. Everything you need to know about the literary industry. And I'm talking from coming up with your ideas, looking for an agent, looking for a publisher, editing tips, publicity tips. It's all in there. I want you guys to get this book because I put a lot of time into this one, and I really want you guys to get this information. And I'm giving it away for free. Like I said, comment game if you would like a copy of this workbook. And that's all I have for tonight, guys. Thank you once again. Oh my goodness, we're going to almost 1,000 likes on TikTok. Y'all are making me just feel so special. All right, guys, that's all I have for tonight. Love you guys. I look forward to working with you, and I will see you all tomorrow night on Black Authors Matter TV, on the National Black Book Festival Facebook page, and then I'll see you again right here on June 16th, where we'll be talking to 2 more guests on the Horizons Author Lounge. And we have some appearances coming up as well. So we have the Harlem Book Fair coming up in August. We have the National Black Book Club Festival or National Black Book Club Conference in August. Indiana Black Expo in July. So there's a lot going on and even more to come. And I hope to see you guys there. So that's all I have, guys. I love you. I'll talk with you soon. Take care. Bye.